Hello, everyone. Welcome to twitch.tv/the Onyx Path. My name is Travis Legg. My pronouns are he and they, and I am facilitating the tech and having the lovely opportunity to play in this game of The World Below, which Matthew Dawkins has been so good as to run for us. I will hand the reins over to Matthew momentarily, but I do just want to take one moment before we do so to remind everyone that this is the last day of the Roll for Wishes crowd or charity campaign. So if you've not yet done so, head over to our Tiltify link I just threw in the chat and throw even $1 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. It would be deeply, deeply appreciated. Having said that, the floor is yours, Matthew.
I have to say, Travis, you did that a lot more elegantly than I have each time I've done it. You know, I pretty much every single time I start talking about Make-A-Wish, I start going into far too much detail. So we won't deal with anything like that right now. Instead, we will be almost immediately getting straight into a scenario in which a child has died. But before we do, let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the game we're playing. We're playing The World Below, and that is currently on BackerKit. And yes, we are almost at 700 backers, which is a joyous figure to reach. Everyone likes the number 700. I'm sure in some numerological bollocks it's very important. But to me, 700 is important because it's a nice round number. So if you haven't backed The World Below yet, please do get onto BackerKit and give it your support, whether it's high, whether it's low. I appreciate your support. We've had a few backer trains start up today as of time of recording. It would be lovely to get a couple more before the day is out. But just to echo Travis, we are doing this in aid of Make-A-Wish. More important even than supporting our game is supporting this charity and not beeping me while I'm talking, whoever that was out there. So please do give your support to Make-A-Wish, and if you have a bit of money left behind afterwards, give our game your support too. So, this is part 2 of our game, A Question of Judgment. Which started off with our characters trying desperately to evade, avoid, flee a pursuing pair of Guhak, underworld cannibal types. They were riding upon Nathri, a gigantic stag beetle, which is enough to put a dampener on anyone's day, I'm sure you'll agree. They were cut short of their intent, which was no doubt to devour our protagonists, when basically every character available unleashed something vaguely chaotic, disastrous, or retaliative. Some did it with slightly more, shall we say, elegance than others. Some just went, screw this, we're just going to blow the whole damn tunnel up. The world below can collapse on our heads for all you care. And indeed, one of the Guhak was taken down. The other Guhak descended to feed. However, you weren't done. You decided to take that Guhak out as well. And not what's more, the R3 went sinking into the ground. You also somehow summoned a cloud of carnivorous razor wings insects that would not have been great if they caught up with you, and started making the entire place collapse. Luckily, you also bust through a wall using the power of Earth Door, thanks to the very quick thinking of Edwin's character, Clag Ironheart. There has to be one person with their eye on the way out, even if that way out is making said way out with a synthesis. So out you went, emerging into a settlement that was not on your map, by the name of Minerone. And Minerone seems to be an isolated by design settlement, or lots of sigils around the walls, no obvious way in or out beyond the chaotic power that you have used to get here. And when you arrived in Minerone, it seems they were readying themselves for the calm, the season that endures between every exploratory phase. And it was a good job you did, because as you arrived, you could feel the chaos in the air. The chaos storms were starting to rage just behind your backs. You are now more or less trapped here, which doesn't seem to pose an imminent threat to your existence, except you got here just as a trial was taking place. A trial that saw 3 people accused of leaving the gate to this settlement open, a magically sealed gate. They had apparently left this open upon their recent return from their own explorations, and as a result, a Guhak, one of these cannibals, had managed to sneak in, abscond with the mayor's daughter, Helly, and, well, murder her. And the entire settlement is in uproar over this, as you can imagine. The sheriff and the judge, they seem pretty damn hot on the idea that these 3 are responsible for this devilish crime. And to date, you've not found much in the way of evidence to the contrary, but you certainly have misgivings that it may not be the case, especially given their insistence, at least at first, that they definitely sealed that gate. Their stories have changed since then. 2 of the people who returned, a Caroline and a Denius, they have decided, no, actually, we left it with Perzig to seal the gate, and clearly he failed to do so. Perzig, who had initially said it was Denius and Caroline's responsibility to seal the gate, is, of course, shocked and upset at having been turned on by his fellow defendants. What else happened? Well, you investigated the scene of the crime as much as you could. You examined the trails of dried blood. You examined the sealed gate. You spoke to one of your contacts that happened to be in this settlement, in fact, Morel the monk. And yeah, I don't know whether you could say you're closer to finding the truth, but you have certainly muddied the waters, at least in your minds. Where we left off, the gallery of settlement inhabitants was returning to their habitats as the sunflies were dying down, signaling nightfall. And the judge and sheriff, Ion and Goldacre, have said, I don't need that look from you, Edwin, have basically said, no questioning of these people, no speaking to these people. These defendants remain in the public square, in the stocks, essentially, tied to rocks, but they are not to be accosted, they're not to be questioned. We're to return to our homes, and come the time the sunflies glow again, the trial will resume. In theory, the trial can last as long as the calm season, but Judge Ion has made it pretty clear that that will not suffice. Justice must be served before that comes to pass, in some manner or other. You 4 were given access to the habitats of Denius, Caroline, and Perzig. That's 2 habitats, because Denius and Caroline lived together. And so, yeah. The gallery is peeling off. People are returning to their habitats, bedding down as the calm begins in earnest. Before all of you filter out, just to remind you, there is now 4 momentum between this group, because we're starting a new session. It's equal to the number of players. Over to you. Are your characters bedding down, or do you have other plans? I mean, you've only just arrived and you've been through something of a draining experience, but you tell me.
How does the rest system in this game work?
So in what regard? Are you missing health, or?
I am missing nothing, but are there penalties if you don't rest for like a certain amount of time?
Yeah, you will gain a status effect of exhausted. Right now, you're not quite there. If you end up operating through the entire night and you still haven't gained any rest, then I would start looking at applying the exhausted status effect. That status effect, as a point of reference, I will read it out so that everyone is aware what they're playing with here. If you are exhausted, let's see. You suffer a moderate complication on all actions until you go to sleep. Failure to buy it off results in you hallucinating, short-term memory loss, being affected by another appropriate status effect. So there you go.
So I would actually like to search the house I'm in, since it's one of the suspects.
Absolutely. And just as a point of interest then, Mirren, who is sharing with Mirren? As you've got two houses, you know, you might as well split the group in two. Mirren used to have a decent relationship with M. Glitterstone, but it's fallen a bit rocky since one of your chaotic retaliations just erased the bonds you had between each other. But, you know, you still know each other. You probably still trust each other to a degree.
Yeah.
Which home is... Sorry, you first.
I was just going to suggest that I would, unless Mirren had an issue with it, M would probably want to stay in the same place. But M does have some reconnaissance she would like to do before the night goes on, but we can address that last if everybody else wants to go first.
I do too.
Yeah, and I have pretty good enigmas, so I can do any, if you guys like, we can leave a roll to me if you need to. If you want to
Well, it sounds like
everyone.
everyone's going to be doing their own thing. How about you, Edwin? What's Clag Ironheart up to?
I mean, I'm trying to figure out what he can do, but kind of running into circles with him, which is kind of frustrating.
So let's think. If you want to spend a momentum, I can give you some ideas.
Yeah, if the rest is okay with that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Burn through your momentum early. Yes, yes.
We'll gain back momentum when we kill people. It's fine.
Oh yeah, when you fail repeatedly. Yes.
Yeah, when we fail. Yeah.
It was literally.
Okay, Clag, as an alchemist and with the kind of skills you have access to, while we're in an era that doesn't exactly lend itself to forensics, that doesn't mean you can't still work certain things out from, for instance, the blood trail you found. You might be able to find evidence of something such as Helye, the girl who sadly departed. What she was like, what she was up to shortly before her death, if she was taken from her house. These sorts of things will fall into the categories of things like enigmas and science, and I mean even technology at a push. So there are various things you can explore. That isn't obviously powers related, but you have skills and attributes that might lend themselves to that.
So, if I'm not mistaken, we already investigated the door. We already investigated the blood and realized that the murder didn't happen here.
That you're pretty certain that the blood was let near the door.
Yeah.
But judging by the quantity of it, it's unlikely she was murdered there, because there would have been more of an explosion of gore, quite frankly. All you're seeing instead is the start of a trail, which then stops at the gate.
Are there any footprints near there?
You can have a look through the dust and the dirt. You can have a scour around if you want. So, okay. So that's what Clag is doing. So, but let's go back to Mirren first then, because Kate, I spoke to you first. So, Mirren, you are in the house of Denius and Caroline.
Okay.
And they've got a small habitat. It is a collection of boulders that have been carved into a 2-room habitat. One is for sleeping, one is for food preparation. Simple as that. The bare essentials. But that isn't to say there aren't personal touches in this igloo of a kind made out of rock. They have trophies on their walls, mainly, well, that of beasts they have slain together. You gathered that may largely be Denius's doing. He was a hunter. At least that's how he introduced himself when he was on stage, as it were, in the gallows. The various skulls on display, some of them are quite impressive. It implies that he has some skill about him, just based on the fact that the largest skull, which is situated over their bedstead, and you think, I mean, speaking for yourself here, wouldn't exactly be your idea of decor. It takes up about a third of the headspace above the bed.
So he bonks his head.
Yeah. So I mean, if he was not a Darv,
okay. Yeah.
but his partner Caroline is human, so she wouldn't have that same grace. But yeah, this isn't the kind of thing you could attach much artistic quality to, certainly. But there's clearly an attempt to make this place homely. Is there anything in particular you're looking for here? There are, of course, clothes. There's a couple of stone boxes that have been hollowed out, soft stone that would have been hollowed out for that reason, for the containment of personal effects. But yeah, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for, I guess like a murder weapon. Like if there's something like a bloody weapon somewhere, or even just a weapon that I would expect to be there missing. That would be that would be a good one.
All right. So let's go for larceny and dexterity, unless there's or enigmas and dexterity. I'd let you use that. Actually, you don't even have to use dexterity. You're not sneaking around. I'd allow you to pair that with cunning. So look at that. The world is your oyster. You've got so many options.
Let's see. I'm gonna go enigmas and cunning. I'm not that cunning, but let me make sure that my larceny isn't better. Yeah, enigmas and cunning. So 4 dice. Bad news. I think I botched that one.
Yeah.
Momentum?
Yeah.
You can spend momentum if you want to make this
Or you
into a
could
success.
choose to gain momentum.
Yeah, or you could
Either
gain
way.
momentum here. There is no
Do we want-
complication on this roll.
Okay, so botching doesn't like having a
no.
1-1 and no successes.
Well, actually, I mean, that means you're going to get 2 momentum for failing. But that doesn't mean you have absolutely failed, and I won't let you search again. Basically, the justification for a botch in this case is you have searched, and you are convinced that you have searched this place to the nth degree.
Okay, I think 2 momentum might be a good trade for that, because I'm not sure this is an essential. Like, this is a little bit of a shot in the dark.
I agree.
Then again, Matthew doesn't have that great a poker face. But
I smile at any misfortune when I'm running games. It's doesn't necessarily mean anything.
I think I'll take the botch. Just get back to momentum.
Okay, excellent. The momentum pool is up to 5 then.
5, yeah.
All right, and so you search through. You're convinced there's nothing incriminating here, but the bed is pretty comfortable looking. There's a thick layer of fungus, which would put most sensible people off sleeping on a bed full of fungus. But in this world, I mean, that's a positive boon. It gives a nice spongy quality.
Yeah. What do you have against fungus?
Nothing.
What do you have against fungus?
Mainly breathing it in while I sleep. But, you know, this is like a compact layer of it. It's like a sponge, if you like.
Yeah. I breathe in fungus and I'm just fine. Look at me.
Yeah. Yeah, so Miriam's gonna wrap her little fungal self up in the fungus and rot.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Yeah, you'll come back and there'll be nothing left. So, Chiara, you said you were going to do some reconnaissance.
Yes.
As did M. Are you moving? Are you two recceing around the settlement together, or are you splitting up? Do you have different intentions?
What are you thinking?
I was gonna try to have a conversation with the local pests and see if they know anything.
The bugs.
Smart. I was going to use some of my theses and syntheses in order to spy the gate. Because if there really is a saboteur, why was it only stop at one try?
That's good, and I'm gonna want to investigate that area so we can certainly travel together, and if anything should jump out at us, we can certainly respond in tandem.
Indeed we can. And here I lightly brush my crossbow. Lead the way.
All right, I'll make my way over toward the door. I do want to sort of take note of if there's anywhere that there are bugs congregating throughout the settlement, but I definitely want to check in the vicinity of the door first, see if I can find anybody that might be able to give me some insight into what happened.
There are some cracks and fissures in the vicinity of the door, which is, of course, pretty typical. If there's going to be an opening, especially one where a door is swinging in and out, there's going to be natural erosion of the rock, and that will, I say erosion, weathering of the rock. And let's see, that secondary school GCSE and geography helped. But also, you can find in such fissures nests of small bugs. They're not going to be of the terribly intelligent kind, so how much information they'll give to you is probably limited. There is also, and these scatter almost as soon as you approach, the dried blood trails are always going to draw bugs for as long as they are there. As long as there's something to pick from the stone surface, bugs will congregate. But these aren't bold creatures. Now, if you want, you can do a survival and intellect roll to see if there's any bugs around here that are slightly more significant in size, intelligence.
Sure. I'd also like to, if at all possible, try to convince the bugs that are rushing away at our presence, like, don't, we're friends. Like,
Is
Mm-hmm.
there a way I can assist?
Can you speak to the bugs?
No. But I am stealthy. I could just walk as stealthily as I can, so my footsteps don't scare the bugs away.
Okay, all right, yeah, I like that. So, in that case, Travis, take an enhancement to M's roll here. Good idea, Victoria.
Excellent. And forgive me for being a little confused as I have I've been involved in like 4 different games in the last 48 hours that use D10s.
Whose fault was that?
10s in this are 2 successes, correct?
Yes,
And
they are 2.
Are not
hits.
re-rolled or anything like that. 2 hits, thank you. So with the enhancement, that will be 4 hits.
Oh, okay. In that case, there are certain tricks you could purchase for the sake of investigation here.
Sure.
But I will cut out the middleman, if that's all right, and deliver a useful chunk to you. Some of the bugs, you don't spook them now, the ones that are crawling around in the blood stain. Instead, upon your approach and your hey, it's all right, you're doing your sort of reaching out, your Crocodile Dundee.
Right.
And
walking in like Chris.
Yes, one of the Chris's, Pratt Pine, and they do move, but they move slowly, and they take you away from this part of the town, or this part of the settlement, away from the gate. You're moving away from most of the habitats into what is like a A trophy garden. These aren't uncommon in Aprikian settlements at all. There are some settlements that are going to have statues, some will have monuments to the fallen or to previous settlements in this place, or shrines to gods and philosophies, or schools, various either communal habitats or places people can come to rest or relax or pray or meditate. In this case, Aprikians very much focused on the hunt and very much focused on the bringing down of great beasts. And so you find yourself following these bugs through this small field, admittedly, of skulls on plinths. Some are basically on stakes, some are erected with more ornamenture, and they weave you through until you get to a larger crevice at the edge of this garden. And they all dart in. And there is a voice from inside, which you can understand, What brings you? What brings you here, Chaosist?
Hello, friend. Questions bring me here. There was a terrible incident not long ago near one of the holes that people use to travel in and out of the settlement. And I wanted to see if you or any of your friends knew anything about that. Do I have anything on my person that is like sweet, like a syrup of some sort, or
Spend a momentum and you can absolutely have some syrup.
Does anybody have any objection to me spending a momentum to have some lovely, sweet, tasty treats to give to my bug friends?
We're good.
Yeah, I'll just dip a finger into a bag and just pull out like a dripping bead of some sort of syrup, and hold it out. I brought you food.
A surprisingly lengthy limb emerges from the darkness of this crack. It has at first you think it's like a long spider's leg, in that it is segmented, thin, and ends in a point, but it has a fluid quality to it. It is soft and tentacular, and so it doesn't let any of the smaller bugs reach it. It just scoops this fluid up and draws it in to this little cavern.
Aren't they adorable?
They are. I smile at the bugs. I have int 1 and no survival, so I don't know if they're dangerous or not.
Pleasing. A tribute. Yes. The Aprikian girl. Unfortunate. She often brought treats to me and my family. I wept when she died.
Sorry, that must have been painful.
Hot tears. Oh, it is always painful when I weep. My eyes are not made for such expressions of sadness.
Nor mine anymore. I blink with my 47 eyes.
But you wish to know whether something amiss was detected. We have been questioned by the people of Minerone too, and I say to you the same as I said to that judge. Ion Lightstep, as she is called. The gate was closed. It was opened to allow for her exit, which was not far from here. Her body was deposited not far from here. And then the perpetrators, and I believe there were more than one, returned and closed the gate again.
Can you tell me why you believe there were more than one?
Vibrations. The number of times my children are scared how often they must scatter, how often they are allowed to feed.
Of course, of course. I have.
But there is one key reason, Chaosist. And it is this. While one took the girl away from here, another stood watch on the gate. I am sure of it. None from this settlement would leave here and leave the gate open without watching it. You could doom this entire settlement if you did.
Are there any among your children who would know these people if they saw them? Any
They are
who
too
could...
dim-witted. They see the tall, the strong, the heavy, and they just see dangers.
That's fair enough and wise. I have. One moment. I'll turn over to my traveling companions. Do you have any questions for them?
What did the two who were working together, what did they look like? What did they smell like or sound like?
Yeah, were you able to identify any of those traits?
They were of this settlement. My children said that. They said as much. They were of Minerone. They smelled of Minerone. They spoke like people of Minerone. But as I say, my children are not keen or indeed accurate in describing people. They are but simple bugs.
Of course. I have one last question for you, good friend.
Do you have another tribute for me?
If I got any
I
syrup left?
hunger in this place.
What if I pluck off a little bit of my mushroom hat and say, "Here, a mushroom for them"?
That's nice. Yes, a little bit of self-sacrifice. Go for it. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. That should be yummy.
This time, the limb that emerges from the dark isn't the same as the previous one. It looks like a very long human arm. And it reaches out, grabs the fungus, and pulls it back into the
Is
dark.
it like long and skinny, but like bug proportioned, or is it like?
Yeah.
So it's not like Reed Richards reaching out of this crack. It's like a.
I mean, there's a certain Reed Richards nature in the elasticity. It is very long, but no, it has a more segmented quality.
Okay.
Again, like an insect limb, but it has a fully flesh hand with digits on the end.
I say, oh, that's impressive. Sorry. The last request, good friend. I would like to do some investigation here. Now, you have rightly identified that I do work chaos, but I would not wish to do so on your stoop without your leave.
You wish to do this on me or to my people?
Not at all. No, I just want to look at the area and see if there's any secrets the chaos can unveil.
I did not harm the girl. My children did not harm the girl.
And I have no reason to suspect that would be the case. What I'm hoping I can do is sometimes when people move through an area or do harm to others, it can leave an impression, and I may be able to read something behind in that left behind. I just don't want to do it close to your home without your permission because I respect you and would not want to offend you.
Can you make a persuade and manipulation?
Sure. I can certainly
You sound
try.
confident.
I can give it a shot. Ooh. Yeah, I can try. That's a whopping 2 dice for me.
Can I assist? I can't speak to them, but I can throw them more chunks from my mushroom hat.
If you're going to keep sacrificing bits and pieces of you, I'm going to apply it isn't going to hurt you, Chiara, but I'm going to give you 1 damage. If you want to sacrifice enough of your flesh, basically, to appease whatever the hell this is, then you go right ahead. Just take a damage.
It's fine. It's a one shot. What's the worst that can happen?
Well, so
It's
far this
fine.
one shot has lasted 2 sessions, so who knows?
Never ending game.
Yes.
Oh.
So yeah, okay, you can have an enhancement, Travis.
That will bring me to 3 hits.
Oh, very well done.
Thank you.
It is fine. It is good. You work your chaos magic, little chaosist. Just do not harm my people. Do not harm my children, or you will bear the repercussion for doing so.
I would never dream of it. And I take a couple steps back toward the door and sort of turn on my heel and say, but you might want to ask them to back up.
Toadstool lady.
I can translate for you.
Yes.
Oh, talking to me?
Yes. Tell her we appreciate the taste of the tribute and invite her to walk in if she wishes us to feed from her more. We would be immensely satisfied. We would see that as the highest tribute if she were to give herself to the Fissia.
I will pass that along and keep that in mind. And I'll just kind of out of the side of my mouth say, yeah, they kind of want, they like the way it tastes. Probably a little too much. We should probably do what we're doing and get out of here.
Oh, I agree. I don't think I'm ready to free myself from the world below yet. I'm not ready to be reincarnated in the world above.
But when it comes time, now you have a place, you can go to do that.
And it'll be appreciated, won't it?
Yeah.
It's nice to know that your death will be appreciated.
Something to think about.
And the last thing I would like to do then, once this exchange has taken place, is step kind of over to the area where they indicated where the guard had been posted.
Yeah.
And I want to use orienteering. Now, I already know what the chaos level is here, so my entire aim for using it is to, because you can spend extra hits to get basically investigation clues. So I'm kind of using it as like, I'm going to tune in with the land and see what I can see.
And risking the retaliation that you know is coming, because you're not buying that off, are you? You're using your hits to get clues.
Well, it will depend on how good I do on this roll.
All right. Well, we'll see. Time for me to open up my Chaotic Sorceries document.
Sure, yeah, probably wouldn't hurt. If I'm not mistaken, let's see. So that was orienteering, right? Oh, I'm silly. I have the dice pool written on my sheet. We're digging in the wrong place. All right, so it's Esoterica plus Intellect for me.
Yeah.
That is not a bad pool.
Yeah. Now, I cannot recall. In fact, no, you have used sorceries here already. This is going to come with a major complication, Travis.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's increased. The chaotic aura in the area is getting pretty damn severe because of all the sorceries that are being fired off just in this day since your arrival.
However, not to split hairs, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe that complicates matters for me. I believe that makes life easier for me.
As a chaosist, in fact, you are completely right. Yes, thank you. You flipped the tables on me, Travis, for the last time.
All right, so on the dice, we are looking at 2 hits.
Oh, well, that's not great.
So,
but you do get enhancements,
right?
Because we know what the level is, and we also know what the that you've now gained a bonus from all the sorcery use. So yeah, that's a +3 enhancement. So that is now 5 hits effectively.
Right. So I believe it's normally a minor complication on that power, right?
Yeah.
To activate. So I'd like to soak 1 hit for that.
Okay. So no chaotic retaliation.
I assume, based on the writing of the power, that I need to let 1 get eaten just for knowing the chaos level, even though I already know it.
Yeah.
Which would leave me 3 points in clues.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my hope, is to get 3 3 more clues for the investigation.
All right, then. So the clues you obtain are as follows. And this is studying the gate, what's passed back and forth. You're doing so with Chiara's help as well, I'm assuming, while you're channeling the chaos. She's basically studying some of what you're unveiling. I appreciate Chiara's intellect isn't terribly high, but an extra mind isn't necessarily a detriment. All right, so here is what you know, what you can be confident of. The gate was... You've already been told that whenever the gate opens and closes, the people in the settlement know. There was some room for doubt beforehand, but you're examining those gems in the wall, the gems in the door that have to be triggered in a certain way, and the sigils that have to be read. You think there's been an effort to what in our modern parlance would be considered override it. Essentially open and close the door without triggering the alarm that goes with it. Someone has clearly tried to conceal their crime by opening this gate and then closing it again without letting the others in the settlement know. So it's a good job you asked the bugs, because no one else around here would have been aware of this happening. So that's clue 1. Clue 2, I think we can say that you find, and this is a nasty little one, in one of those gems in the doorway, looks like when someone was trying to move them or rearrange them, try and trigger this gate, they lost a fingernail. They got their finger underneath it and tried to pull it out, and their fingernail paid the price for that. So there is a fingernail and blood underneath there. Now, you would normally assume that someone in such a case would retrieve the lost piece of their body, but not if they were in a hurry, perhaps, or maybe they're just unaware.
Do I have a way of getting some of the blood up?
Yeah, that will be, if you want to spend your third clue on that, you can actually obtain a decent sample of the blood from behind that gem.
Quick setting question. Am I aware of ways in which someone, maybe not necessarily myself, but someone might be able to tie those bits to a person? And would the blood alter that, right? Or would the nail be enough?
The blood would probably help, mainly because while you're aware that the nail, if someone is going around missing a fingernail, that can be obvious, you know, or if they've got a bandage wrapped around the finger. But you also know there are various healing sorceries that could recover such an injury. So having something like the blood is, while again it's not forensics, it is kind of like a blood magic. You would be able to more easily determine who this belonged to by following the various sorcerous paths. It would probably come under orienteering again, all told.
Okay, well, in that case, then, unless any of my fellow adventurers has a grand objection, I will spend that last clue to be able to successfully collect some of that blood.
Go for it.
Good.
Okay, so Edwin, you were busy looking for footprints, and your path takes you through the settlement. Well, there's a lot of dust, there's a lot of loose stone in the settlement, and this isn't unusual. Unfortunately, it does mean that there are a lot of places where footprints could be left, but what you're really looking for are the footprints of this girl. There aren't many children in this settlement, as far as you can tell, so they should be fairly distinctive, based on just size, weight, indentation, that kind of thing. Could I ask you to make a... We could go for enigmas and intellect. I would allow you to use science and intellect, if you like, to see if you can pick anything up. Or if you have an alternative idea, you go for it.
No, I'll go for science and intellect. I'll take that one. Two successes.
Okay, you get 2 hits. That's good. That tells you you're able to pinpoint with 1 hit where the freshest of these footprints last came from, and you can pretty easily identify the home of the mayor. You've not encountered the mayor yet, but given that she was the mayor's daughter, that makes sense. You can find a trail that hasn't been scrubbed away. It looks like she generally kept close to the walls, which means no one has trampled over them or scuffed them. And so while the sunfly light is dimming, and the good news is that means the shadows cast are slightly deeper and longer, and it means to your benefit they're easier to follow. And so you follow them along, and you're following them through the settlement, and can only hope that this is the most recent set. You find yourself at a storage cave. They're easy enough to tell. Usually they have things like salt crystals. They will have also sand. They'll usually have particulates about to absorb moisture. The idea being that if something needs to be preserved here, you want to keep as much dampness out of it as possible. And it seems that after she's done a bit of a merry dance, a run around the settlement a little, she has come here, and her footsteps go up to the storage. After that, it looks like they turn around, and now the footprints are stretched farther apart. And that tells you, again, you're not an investigator by nature, but it tells you that she was probably running. After that point, things get very scuffed up. You can see that the footprints have been around the storage, but that, again, seems they're coming from all over the place and going all over the place. But it seems she headed here at a pretty leisurely stroll, and then when she got here, you don't know how long she was here, but something made her then run. And after that, the trail is pretty much obliterated, as you only got 2 hits. Now, if you want, you can spend more momentum to get more enhancements and follow that trail a little further. But that's up to you.
How much momentum do we still have left?
You've actually got quite a lot right now. You currently stand on 5 momentum.
Is the rest
I say spend it.
Is the rest okay if I spend 2?
Yes.
Okay, then. All right. So it is getting darker, and soon you will not be able to see this at all. And so you follow this as quickly as you possibly can. And it takes some doing. You find yourself not following the girl's footsteps, but you think some of the heavier, indented boot prints from the storage, which you think were following in the same direction. They take you around a corner, down a tunnel. It's still part of the same settlement. Not really sure where this is leading. This isn't a place you've been before. The ceiling here is narrow. It is very much arched like this. You can barely squeeze in. Maybe she was running down here because she thought this would allow her to evade whoever was pursuing her. But the footsteps, to your surprise, keep padding on through. And as you lean around the corner at the end, that's where you find what you're pretty sure is the scene of the murder. There's no body, but there is a lot of remains of blood. Up, not just on the ground, but up the wall.
So normally I would say I pull out my camera. Unfortunately, I don't have that.
Pull out your easel, draw a painting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wax tablet, chisel,
or dial 911 or anything like that. So those options I don't have. I don't see any one of my companions around, do I?
No, you're in a different part of the settlement.
So I have an esoteric technology.
Yeah.
I kind of want to use that.
Mm-hmm.
And as Victoria said, make a drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna grab a slab of wood with some sort of sharp object and
Ooh, wood. That is a valuable material, very rare.
Oh.
And so, but no, this means you're carving it into something that you know is going to, well, I don't know if it will stand the test of time. It's wood, but this is meaningful. I mean, most people just go for a clay tablet. You're going for wood. How many trees do you see down here?
point taken. I'll go for a clay tablet.
Oh, fine.
And just draw what I see, also the location of the storage, etc.
Mm-hmm. So you're basically sketching out a map of sorts and a timetable of, what happened here.
And I know we had our sleeping places, but considering how and what, I'm going to stay here.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't know if those people are still within the settlement.
Mm-hmm.
And if they might come in and try to erase whatever happened in here.
Yeah. I mean, that is not a bad option. There's a commonly held mentality in the world below that not only does the world below provide, the world below also consumes. Remains, if left unobserved, no body, no one to look over them, or no idol or shrine or eyes fixed to the walls to stare upon them, will eventually just disappear into the world below. Some believe it's bugs coming along and eating it. Some believe it's literally the world absorbing any refuse, any detritus or detritus rather. So staying here in sight of this blood splatter serves more than the purpose you intend. It isn't just going to allow you to catch someone if they return to the scene. It's also going to mean that this bloodstain will not be erased. All right then. So we currently have Mirren, played by MK, tucked up, all safe and sound, not risking an exhausted status effect by getting some lovely sleep. RM and Chiara returning to the habitats.
If they have any more investigation that they want to do, I'm happy to lend a hand. Otherwise, I'm all for returning home to sleep.
It is getting very dark. And there is no unnatural source of light. No one has lit torches or lanterns. This is a settlement that rises and falls by the light of the sunflies.
I mean,
In that case,
I could make us some light, but I don't know that it's a good idea.
I have, for what it's worth, I have chaos magic that can give me soul sight so I can see through darkness. And with extra hits on my dice pool roll, I can share with other people.
So it's your choice. You can keep wandering in the darkness if you want.
I think I would like to split the difference and project my consciousness into Silent Sentry.
Okay. Explain for the viewers what Silent Sentry does, please.
So, copying and pasting it into the chat as well. So, Silent Sentry. It lets me summon spores along my path from several range bands away. So I can detach my consciousness into the spores and observe and hear what's happening by the mushrooms. So my thinking is that I would sleep in my physical body. My body would be resting, but my mind would be in the spores. And it looks like Twitch cut off the description. So pasting the rest.
Well, it's a once per session effect, so I'm quite happy with you doing that. So yeah, you can temporarily detach your consciousness into these spores, observe and hearing what's happening within short range of your mushrooms. Where do you wish to place them then?
I would like to place them in a reasonable distance from close enough to the gate so they can see what's going on in the gate.
Okay. So yeah, if anyone does decide to move to or from this evening, you will be alerted.
Good. And I tell my teammate, so I'm about to spread my consciousness through some mushrooms. But that I spread by the gate. This is going to make me it's going to make it harder for me to notice things around my person. Is there a way that you can be alert while we rest so nothing attacks us, nothing ambushes us?
No, but maybe I can ask for some help. Hey, you nearby bug, can you wake me up if something happens terrible?
Enoch,
Ooh, good idea.
Thanks. You can have whatever's left on my finger. Here you go. But we should make our way back to shelter then before you do this, right?
Let's.
Okay then. So the two of you go back to your habitat. Well, go back to one habitat and share, which means that none of you are aware that that Edwin's character, that Clag, is not with you, because if M and Chiara are sharing their habitat, Miran is asleep in the other one, which means Clag is just staying awake, I'm guessing, in a cave full of blood.
I mean, he'll try to sleep, but he'll try to set some sort of alerting system up that if somebody enters, that he'll be woken up.
It's a simple enough thing to do. You just find some loose stones, like essentially make crunchy gravel out of it, and scatter it down the corridor approaching, so that you should be able to hear someone go crunch, crunch, crunch as they approach.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can do that. All right then. So let's see whether anything occurs during the night. I'm going to make a roll for myself and find out. All right then. Would anyone like to spend a momentum to avoid something disastrous?
Define disastrous. Disastrous can be fun.
Disastrous is murderous in this case. One of you will be targeted for death.
Well, then I would suggest we spend the momentum to avoid that. That sounds bad.
Then again, that's excitement.
I don't want to see people targeted. Like maybe maybe we can tell something about the person who gets targeted and then get more clues.
Who's gonna be targeted? It's gonna be somebody who's gonna be targeted.
Listen,
it will probably be someone alone because this is Halloween.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm more than happy to go along with the crowd here. I'm just saying that maybe we keep everybody alive.
Yeah,
That's
it would be
all.
nice it would be. I will say, I don't want to remind Matthew what I can do, but it wouldn't be so bad if it was me.
Edwin looks really sad about the idea of dying alone. He's not happy.
So let's not.
Maybe do it for him.
I mean, let's do it for him.
You don't know me at all. Trust me, you don't know me at all.
Though Edwin in previous games of Run for Him tends to have the "if I'm going down, I'm taking all of you with me" mentality. So yeah. All right, so you're going for it as in you're going to get murdered, or you're going for it as in you're spending the momentum?
Let's spend the momentum.
Party vote. So MK says spend the momentum. Travis says spend the momentum, so it's 2 for 2. Victoria, spend the momentum.
As much as my character would like to see people liberated from the world below, I don't want to see Edwin liberated from this actual play. So let's spend momentum.
Well, that's nice. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, Edwin, despite your best
Came
wishes,
together.
your best effort.
You guys have no effect on my survivability skills.
It's a Halloween miracle.
I just wanted to see the look on your face, Edwin. Drag it out a little bit.
Well, okay. So in that case, there is no murderous event, but someone definitely observes one of you while you are sleeping, and maybe that's just slightly creepier because they watch and then they peel away.
Who got watched?
I'm not telling you that. You were asleep.
Passive perception checks. Come on.
Passive perception. So, well, we have spores that are by the gate. They, I hate to tell you this, do not pick up anything unusual during the night. We have the gravel track that Clag has laid down leading to the Cave of Blood, which is a wonderful name for a cave that everyone should visit. That gravel does not get trod upon, and therefore Clag, while only sleeping lightly, is able to sleep. We also have M's bug that was set to watch. I'm sure this small dung beetle doesn't mind at all just sitting there and thinking, bloody hell, I'm not paid enough for this, but would pronounce it as something like empanada.
So it was going to be me. It was going to be me who is.
Mirren had no means of defense.
Yeah.
But sleeps better than any of the rest of you. And would have slept a very long time indeed.
You don't know that. You don't know. See,
No.
I have a power that if you grab me, I can burn the shit out of you.
That is true. That is true.
So I might have been able to do it.
Might have
that
just
would've been
stabbed
cool.
you, to be honest.
It's true.
And so you wake. You wake with morning's freshness, as they say. So, Edwin, Clag Ironheart, you wake in the Cave of Blood. Your companions don't appear to have come to find you. The blood is still there because you're in its presence. You only slept lightly. You kept waking up to see it, and it hasn't had the time to be absorbed. You are seeing that there are bugs crawling over it and through it, but they're not going to be able to remove it nearly fast enough to erase this morbid scene. But you are still out of the way. M, Chiara, and Mirren, you will wake, and if you leave in the morning, leave the various habitats you were in, you, of course, are now discover Clag Ironheart is no longer with you.
I thought he was with you.
I was asleep. I don't.
Well, let's find
just
Clag
woke up.
Ironheart. Are there any convenient footprints on the ground?
Well, is Clag departing his watch post, or is he going to determinedly stay here no matter what?
He'll move to the entrance of the storage,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll just sit there waiting until the rest starts.
Yeah, somewhere slightly more visible then.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, so as the three of you were discussing footprints, the sheriff passes you.
Actually,
yes, all right.
question: can I use the thesis boom? The thesis boom.
As
use
in
K-
to blow something up?
Well, not like blow something up, but let people know where I am.
You could definitely let someone know where you are by detonating something.
I mean,
what is our problem-solving skills in this thing? Like, we summon a swarm of bugs, we blow up the cavern, and now we're going to explode a city. Like, hey guys,
It's the world below equivalent of setting off a flare.
that's right.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of where I want to go to. It's not like I'm going to use a huge explosion.
We're looking for you. I think we're looking. I think with a roll we can find you without blowing.
No, I like this. Okay. So yeah, you can find with this thesis, you can use chaos rocks as ranged or close combat weapons with an explosive. Do you already have a chaos rock in your inventory, Edwin? In your equipment?
No, it's not.
Cool
It's
if
not
I
listed.
gave you something like that. So let's see if you can identify any in the walls nearby. Can I ask you to make either science or enigmas plus cunning, please?
I'll go for science and cunning.
Yeah, as you'll need something that can blow up before you can blow it up.
And excuses for the explosions going on outside.
That's all right. I think it all adds to the scene.
That's ambiance.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 hits.
Good God. Okay. I mean, you find a cache of chaos rocks that, frankly, you're amazed the Africans in this settlement never discovered, because this would be hellishly valuable at the right moth market. As it is, you can extract pretty much a boulder of chaos rock here for 5 hits. That's going to be quite a boom. Now, you could chip a bit off if you just want to go bang, like a firecracker.
Yeah, it's going to be a firecracker. I mean, all the rest I'll keep for other moments. But yeah, just a tiny one to see, to draw attention.
Okay, I'm not
just see him like rolling this chaos boulder throughout the entire rest of the game,
and then trip and see it rolling down and explode.
Yes,
we can do that.
Yeah, we'll rename you Sisyphus, and you just have to keep rolling up this exploding boulder up and down a hill. So as you're about to throw your firecracker chaos rock, Sheriff Goldacre greets the 3 heavy sleepers. Looks like the calm is in effect now. Good morning to you. Hope you slept easy.
Yeah, we had a great night. We also had a bit of an informative night. Learned some stuff, interesting things. We'll be looking forward to seeing the judge again today.
We'll start up again in a few hours. The gallery will start moving, but there's busy work to be done now that we're in calm. People need to fortify the homesteads and reap the harvest, as it were. We can't let ourselves get hungry now, can we?
No, not at all. Speaking of hungry,
now that you're staying with us, am I to assume you will be helping, or will you be leeching off of the settlement of Mineron?
Helping, of course.
Yeah, there's
we
stuff.
We are pleased to offer our services.
Yeah, there's stuff we can do to be of use. However, we seem to have mislaid one of our friends.
Well, I'm sure he'll turn up. The sheriff looks at Mirren. And did you sleep particularly well?
But perfectly. Why do you ask?
I just noticed you came out of this habitat alone and wouldn't want to know that you'd been scared or nothing.
Out of character, this is probably a red herring, but I would like to make an empathy check to see if the sheriff is sus.
As he slavers.
Is he sus? Is he sus? It's like, hey girl, I've been watching you sleep. How you doing?
I noticed you were sleeping alone.
I noticed you don't wear socks.
Yeah, I was just watching over you. There was nothing kinky about it.
Sure. So, like, I think Marianne could probably start. I think she's probably a little bit of a nerd as like a kitchener, like talking about how she's very good at cultivating food. She does have like something about like she's a cavern farmer.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, Chiara, you wanted to read the sheriff.
Yep.
So yeah,
I got 3 hits.
Oh, okay. What was that? Empathy and cunning?
Yes.
Yeah, he clearly has taken in fact, it's not a liking. He is clearly very suspicious of Mirren. and you think that he knows full well how well she slept last night.
What What about you, Sheriff? Did you and your southern accent sleep well too?
I surely would not know of what you speak. No, I don't sleep well. Now, while there's criminals gone unpunished.
Criminals.
Well, hopefully we can bring an end to that very condition this very day.
At which point you hear a loud bang.
There's our friend.
Oh, what's that sound? Let's go look.
Which,
could be
again,
anything.
could have been a...
Does your character Victoria share that perhaps this person knows that I slept real well?
Yes.
Well, the sheriff goes running off in the direction of the bang, so if you two hang behind, you can definitely relay
we
that.
hang behind a little bit, and I say, hey, I think the sheriff was watching you sleep.
Whisper network, okay?
It's like he's like the settlement Santa Claus. He knows when you're sleeping.
Yeah, I will call back over my shoulder. That's not creepy. As we, as I race ahead to try to get at least so that I'm neck and neck, if not ahead of the sheriff, headed toward the banging noise.
I follow.
I'm probably not gonna do Truth Seeker yet, but I'm probably gonna, at some point when it's a good idea, see what this guy thinks about me.
Mm-hmm.
Either that or try and shift his attitude.
But I would like to do it stealthily, and just in case the sheriff decides to take advantage of Edwin's character being alone. It's broad daylight. He probably won't, but you never know.
Yeah, well, the equivalent of. Let's see then. So, for those of you who are trying to keep up with the sheriff, could I ask for an athletics and dex? He has a surprising movement to him, which is speaks to the guile of a silhouette.
3 hits again.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Athletics and dex. So.
If any of you have any theses or syntheses that allow you to jump a range band, this is also something that could help.
4 hits.
4 hits, okay.
I got 5 hits.
Oh, wow, okay. Well, in that case, you overtake. This is wacky races now. The sheriff has become Dick Dastardly as you go running through the settlements, and before any of the settlement's inhabitants can find out what on earth the source of this commotion is, you see Clag Ironheart there, stood behind a fuck-off great chaos boulder, sort of leaning on it, with a smoking cinder of chaos rock at his feet.
If at all possible, would I be able to use my climber ability? I have the climber thesis, so that I can sort of like go up the wall and move along the stalactites and as a part of my racing ahead.
Yeah, sure.
Then, if I may, I would like to drop down next to him, upside down, like Peter Parker style, and just be like,
and kiss him,
and kiss him, absolutely, in the rain.
It's getting romantic.
Yeah, Clag wasn't expecting it.
And then just go, do you realize how awesome this boulder is?
It's like, forget all the murder scene.
Yes, and it's all mine.
God damn it.
I will give you 2 drops of syrup and some pocket lint for it.
Mine. I said mine.
Oh,
by the way, you might want to check inside here.
Inside the chaos stone? I'm dropping them.
No. Inside this storage room. And Clag will just happily sit on the chaos rock waiting for M to go inside and check it out.
I peek inside the storage room. Oh,
well, let me remind you. So the storage was where the footprints led from. Where they led to was a tunnel that branched off from the cave. and it was a very narrow, arched one that curled around a corner and led to a small chamber that was basically showered in blood. So this isn't storage, but you're not that far away from it.
But he'll basically tell them where to go to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's right behind you anyway. Of course, as you're directing them in, the sheriff reaches as well. He stops. What the film kind of noise you making? And a bunch of other inhabitants of Minerone are now showing up. They want to know what caused this explosion, as several of you are heading into the tunnel. He looks at you, Clag. He looks at the Chaos Boulder. I mean,
Mine.
Yeah. He puts his hands up and he starts walking backwards into the crowd.
Sheriff,
Okay,
Sheriff, come back. I didn't say you can leave.
Excuse me?
You might want to go, and he'll give the description, and follow M and the rest and check out what I found.
Well, the three of you can get there first if you head on down this narrow tunnel, providing M hasn't been too chaos struck by this boulder and just can't take eyes off of it.
No, she's absolutely
can I-
continuing skittering along the ceiling down that way.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say who is in the crowd? See who is in the crowd? Is the mayor? Is there anybody who I haven't seen yet?
There are people you haven't seen. If the mayor has robes of office, they are not wearing them.
Okay,
So you wouldn't be able to tell.
And the sheriff's here?
The sheriff is
So-
here, the judge is not.
If there are people in the crowd that I haven't seen before, although they are NPCs that aren't named, which
Mhm.
doesn't help me much. But I might use Truth Seeker just to verify what this fucking guy thinks about me.
All right. Okay, we will
Like,
get
what
to
are
that.
we?
Yes, we will
Yeah.
get to that, not to worry. All right, so in that case, Chiara and M, you head on down the tunnel while Mirren intends to work some sorcery. You find the same scene Clag did before. A cozy little nook in the cave wall, or it would be cozy were not covered in dried blood.
Oh, ew. Can I scrape some of this blood up?
Yep.
Excellent. Oh, this is so gross. Ew. What? Why would...
Is there anything else you wish to do with this scene? As in this nook, rather than the scene in general. I'll take that as a no. So in that case,
Yeah, I don't think there's really. Well, I guess. Am I in a different enough? Is this a different enough area that if I used orienteering again, that it would make a difference?
Yeah, you are because
case,
you are. You're in a different part of the cave.
In that case, I will use orienteering if that's okay.
All right, so we will do that, but first we'll deal with Mirren and Clag. Then out the front, Mirren, you are using Truth Seeker. So let's remind our viewers what Truth Seeker does, please.
Okay, I have to open the book again.
Yeah, bloody pain, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That's all right. I'll read it out.
my God.
So Truth Seeker is a Farsighter power. It allows you to gain insight into the bonds and attitudes targets hold. The wielder must be able to perceive their target in some fashion in order to pry forth this knowledge. So MK, you need to roll empathy and cunning. There is, however, and this is not helped by the huge chaos rock next to you. In fact, it might do. I think the chaos rock is going to give you an enhancement, a big one. So this is
wow.
going to give you a +2 enhancement. It will give you +3 if you sacrifice some of it.
Can I have a little?
I mean, it's Clag's choice. And the chaos level of the stratum is 2, so you're on a complication of 2 and an enhancement of 2. So in theory, they should cancel each other out as long as you get 1 hit.
Just a little off the side.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, Clag?
Just this once.
Oh.
Better make it worth it.
3 hits.
Okay, that means, combined with the enhancement, good lord. Do you want to buy off the complication first of all?
Yes.
You do not want a chaotic retaliation right now.
No, I don't right now. Not in the
All
cut.
Okay. So you can target several individuals, and you find yourself doing this in order, I would suggest, rather than as a one blast. And the reason for this is as follows. You target the sheriff first and foremost,
Yes.
as he is the only person here who you can definitively recognize and name.
Yes. Yes.
So you're able to determine the attitudes he holds. He is incredibly negative towards you, in particular,
Good.
Miran. He does not like you. He does not trust you, and based on his attitudes and studying him, you're able to determine that he does have a bond with a rather frail-looking man in the crowd. Appears to be a human. Looks quite emaciated, ill. There is a positive attitude toward the man from the sheriff, from Goldacre, and likewise the positive attitude is returned. They have a bond, in fact, which is based around there being previous adventuring partners. Now, Truthseeker doesn't identify who this person is, but it is clear that they know each other reasonably well. It isn't as intense a bond as Goldacre had with Ion Lightstep, the judge, by any means. Their bond was quite radiant in power. But there is definitely a connection here that's meaningful. The rest of the people in the crowd, sadly, even focusing on the man, the frail man, it appears he has a generally positive attitude with everyone who is visible, which is pretty rare for someone to think highly of everyone around them. But it doesn't seem to be any kind of, again, glowing love. It seems to be more his care for them, would be a way to put it.
Awesome.
He has no attitude toward you, and indeed, going back to Goldacre seems irritated with Clag Ironheart as well, probably because of this explosion. But no, there is something more to it. Goldacre has thoughts of fear that are directed at Clag that are quickly quashed with spite.
But is it as intense as me? Because it sounds like it was sort of murderous toward me almost.
Yeah, it was murderous towards you.
So can I use bliss on him? Because I feel like he's a threat.
Well, let's see. We'll do orienteering first with
Okay.
to go back to the Nook. M.
Yep, I got 2 hits on the dice. Am I close enough to that? Well, I guess the chaos ball, I'd have to sacrifice some of it to get some of it, right? So I'm not going to worry about that.
You can get one enhancement from its presence. You can get more enhancement if you wish to sacrifice it.
No, I don't. And then I get 2 from the strata or 3?
2 from this stratum.
Okay, excellent. So that would be a total of
ridiculous is your total.
5. Drop 1 to overcome any complication, 1 because I have to, And then 3, 1. I know what the chaos level is. Thank you. And then it's like sitting on hold through the menu. Yes. And then the other 3 for clues, if I could.
All right. Wow. Okay. Big clues here. Well, for one, yes, this is definitely where she was killed. I don't know if that's a clue or not.
There's been a murder here.
Yeah. All right, I'll give you something a little more than that. You think she fought, for whatever that counts. It probably mattered to her and mattered to her killer. But she put up a fight, and that's why there's so much blood all over the place. Rather tragic, but that is the case. The next thing, she was definitely killed by someone significantly larger than her. So obviously she was an early teen. This would put her killer in the grown-up variety. You think not again that you're a scientist, you are a chaosist, but based on the arc and the quantity of blood splatter, this isn't a goo hack. This isn't someone taking a chunk out of someone, with their teeth. This is a frantic stabbing. There are several arcs of spray that would imply repeated stabbing motions to this girl. And what's more, I'll bundle into that same clue. You're not thinking dagger necessarily as much as an incisor sword, about the length of what we would consider a short sword. So daggers are pretty long, all on their own. A short sword is just slightly longer and has a more wicked edge. So there was both piercing and slashing motions going on here. Final thing is, based on the fact that there is no blood trail leading away from here, you think she was probably bundled up, maybe in a sack or perhaps in a hollowed out shell, carried to where ultimately you found the blood trail started. So maybe she was bundled out there, dragged.
Right. I will share that information with everyone that's immediate. And is there any way that I can tell if in that fighting back she may have injured her assailant?
Ooh, if you spend another point of momentum, because I love getting that down.
Anybody have any objection to me spending the momentum on that?
It's an important clue. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Let's spend the momentum.
All right. So you think yes. You don't think it's significant, but you think it's a hunch more than anything else. That the amount of spray, the amount of conflict, the amount of just the radius over which this blood has spattered would imply that she put up such a fight that it would be impossible to believe that she had not at least scratched or poked the eye or squeezed a limb or something like that. This person, also the fact that they were fighting with such a fury, would imply there was an impassioned element to it.
Well, in that case, with M being the soul of discretion and very reserved, she's going to shout, "I think I got it," and run back to where the people are in the stocks.
Yeah.
Okay, and Mirren, are you going to try working your magic on the sheriff?
I am. I want this guy to like me, so he tells me why he doesn't like me. So let's see. I've got it open this time. So bliss. Once per session.
Yeah.
Your presence. My presence nullifies all negative mood related area effects. Is that yeah?
This is not an area effect.
I'm
afraid.
Yeah.
Last time I would say it was based on the fact that there was a lot of, well, I wouldn't, hate speech is the wrong word, but there was certainly a lot of condemnatory dialogue That's a very diplomatic
Yeah.
way of putting it. And so you kind of nullified that with your aura and say, you know, rallying the people around you. That isn't what's going on here, I'm afraid. So you may have to reserve your bliss for the time being.
Well, what about something deeds? I've got exalted deeds. Shift the attitudes around me positively or negatively.
Ah, well, now see, that is more likely. I think that's a sorcery, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm always in favor of people using sorcery, because of all the chaotic retaliations that follow. So
Yeah,
let's
but we've
see.
got that chaos rock.
Yeah, if Clag's happy with you bleeding even more of it off, you would be rolling your empathy and composure to use exalted deeds.
Yeah, let me see. Empathy is actually pretty good. 3, and then composure is 4. So I'm gonna roll 7 die.
Well, before you do then, so just keep in mind that sorcery is now being used in this area. Complication. In fact, 2 sorceries have now been used in this area. Moderate complication. The complication isn't going to go any higher than major, but you do now have a major complication because you've also got the stratum to deal with. So you can get enhancements, of course. You have a straight 1 enhancement from the presence of this chaos rock. If you want any more, you're going to have to turn this chaos rock into a chaos stone. It's already bled off from a boulder to a rock, and it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. That's you
So
can
what do we
ask
think?
ask for permission or forgiveness here.
It's only a one shot. We'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll be fine. What do we think, Clag?
This is quite a prize, Clag.
What do you think?
It's literally a rare mineral. I already let you use it once. That's it.
Yeah, but you do need to be able to carry it out the door. That's all I'm saying.
Watch me.
You have to.
Watch me.
Okay, so I'll just roll. I guess we're gonna.
You have an enhancement. You've got 1 enhancement.
Okay, and I've got.
And you got a ridiculous dice pool.
Oh, unless
I do have a.
unless
Well,
unless you can provide me with a bunch of bug parts, no time
I
wasters.
cannot give you a bunch of bug parts, but I
gave you an option.
I do have 4 hits, so I think we'll be okay.
All right, so 1 hit buys off the difficulty. Boom. You also have an enhancement, so that is effectively 2 hits. You have rolled 4 hits, did you say? All right, well, that will allow you to buy off the entire complication. However, if you do that, all that will leave you with is the basic ability of exalted deeds. In this case, you exude the weight of your deeds. I am the cannibal slayer. To appeal to or cow their audience up to medium range. You choose whether the people who perceive you shift in attitude positively or negatively. So it is up to you. Are you trying to make this crowd view you more positively?
Yeah, I mean, I especially want to target the sheriff. You know, it's sort of.
He's such a charming man. Who wouldn't want
He's
his
such a
favor?
charming man.
It's the southern accent.
Yeah, it's the drawl.
Yeah.
He's such a richly drawn character is the thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's his layers.
Of course. So she's just going to say, you know, I did.
I do declare.
Yeah, I did kill those. I did kill those cannibals, and I am an incredibly good cook, and I'm a wonderful farmer, and I'm looking forward to helping this settlement through the calm.
Now, Chiara, you could really cock block Mirren here by saying you killed one of them because you did. Stolen valor over here.
Okay, I'm a silhouette. I like stealth.
You don't need the attention.
Nope, not at all.
No. Okay. Well, I mean, these people who have already applauded you once for your heroism, It's not even begrudging because it's sorcery affecting them. They all think, "Oh, thank goodness we are in Mirren. At least Mirren is here to protect us. Thank Fortuna for Mirren." They say, "If not for Mirren, all would be lost." Even the sheriff has to give you a begrudging smirk. Now, I'll note, giving someone a positive attitude, if their attitude is already negative, it's just going to move it up to neutral. But
That's right.
it is neutral, so that is better than you were before.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to be trying to freaking murder me at the moment.
At the moment. Now, I realise we're about halfway in, or disappointed lady, as the pub's called. So let's go for our. It was always the whip it in. It used to be in like England in the 70s and 80s. You had lots of whip it ins, but I always preferred the halfway in. Anyway, as we are halfway into the game, let's take our scheduled bio breaks, recharge your glasses, and we will return in a few minutes. Travis, put up the hold music.
Excellent. We'll be back momentarily, folks. If you've not yet done so, head over to BackerKit and secure your copy of The World Below while we are gone. If you're watching this on VOD, just fast forward to see our pretty faces again, and we'll be back momentarily. Welcome everyone back to twitch.tv/the Onyx Path. If you're just joining us, we are in the midst of our latest World Below actual play. Once again, I just want to remind you this is the last day of our Make-A-Wish fundraiser participating in the Roll for Wishes program. I've thrown the link up in the chat. If you'd be so kind as to throw a few dollars in that direction, it would be greatly appreciated. Also want to remind you the World Below is still available over on BackerKit. We are just over halfway through the campaign. The game is funded. We've got plenty of stretch goals unlocked and more on the way. With that being said, I will shut my mouth and hand it back over to Matthew Dawkins, our esteemed story guide.
Thank you very much, Travis. Yes. Well, when last we left our party, M. Glitterstone was running into the town centre.
I would like
It's
to
true.
follow M, just because we've got some subtle hints that being alone in this game might not be good.
It's valid.
Clag, are you following, or are you just standing watch over your chaos rock? Or are you you can roll it with you.
I'm gonna roll it with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Making sure, giving everyone the evil eye if anyone approaches you. No, this is mine. And now that you have turned the mob, but not necessarily the sheriff entirely, what about you, Mirren? Are you heading to the town centre? Or are you staying back with
do I
the
know
sheriff?
anything about anybody's injuries, or do I know anything about anybody's like fingernail
You-
stuff? Or has anybody told me?
because
No, I don't.
No, this
So
has not been conveyed.
So I wouldn't know to look. I might genuinely slide up to the sheriff and just have a
To Goldacre.
conversation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to Goldacre. Yeah, because
Well,
nobody's told me where we're going or what we're doing. So
No, so
I'm
as
just
the rest
gonna-
of the settlement's population all heads off in the direction of M, and Goldacre is about to follow, you sidle on up.
yeah,
Excuse me,
we're just
ma'am.
gonna be walking together.
He looks at you a bit askance.
Mhm.
What is this?
I'm just taking an interest in this settlement since it's the calm, and we might be here 10 years. You know what I mean? We could be here a while. I'm just interested in becoming a good citizen.
Well, it's a good job that we have very deep stores in Mineron. We have been accumulating our resources for some time. Perfectly balanced for the population, you understand. We take this very seriously.
I see. So do we have are guests going to be a problem for you?
I wouldn't say so. Once these three are found guilty and punishment is rendered, well, with them and the sad case of Helly and what happened to her, well, that's 4 bodies down and 4 bodies added with you and your friends.
That is interesting, isn't it?
Well, if you're a Hadean, you might believe in things like balance and things that even themselves out.
The world below provides.
That it does. Now, I notice you and I are alone, Cannibal Slayer.
Certainly. Did you mistrust me at first?
You're a Farsighter, ain't you?
I am.
See, I
or
don't like
believe.
farsighters all that much. Go poking noses in, start telling people things, often lies, and convince them of their truth because you are a farsighter, and a farsighter never lies. Farsighters are leaders. Farsighters always know the truth. Well, in my experience, farsighters are just as caught up in webs of lies as anybody else. It's just they have golden tongues to go with it. So, my question to you, Cannibal Slayer, is what kind of farsighter are you?
I think I'll be unusually candid and say, what kind of silhouette are you? What, you know, it's, I understand mistrusting somebody with a golden tongue, but if you can say, slit somebody's throat in their sleep, how's that different? Why is what I do worse than what you do?
Oh, that is a fair rebuttal. I'm perfectly candid about the kind of business I pursue, and I'm not upholding the law in this settlement. Sometimes death does need dealing. That's what the Hades Tract believes. Sometimes people's time comes to an end, and sometimes I'm the deliverer in that respect. But I mainly keep my trade, Cannibal Slayer, to watching people from the shadows, making sure nobody does nothing they shouldn't, and keeping an eye on the law in this place. You know, in Mineron, we prize order very highly indeed.
Mm.
And then people like you come along and you mess it all up. But if you can toe the line, then we ain't got no problem, have we?
No, I don't think we do. I'm certainly interested in learning more about the justice so I can toe the line. You know, not everywhere you go is the same.
No,
But
indeed not.
but I think we can come to an understanding because I'm gonna be here a long time. I think.
While he seems perfectly conversational in his rather curt and insulting way, he is not flirtatious. There is nothing beyond this suit of insectoid armor, the skull, the shoulder pads, the spikes, that betrays any kind of affection or longing towards you.
Yeah.
That's if the intention is to make him weak at the knees, that is not what's working. But you are getting him talking, and
Yeah.
you are, whether putting him at ease or not, you couldn't say, but you're certainly getting him to voice his opinions, which means you know a little more about Goldacre than you did before.
Right. So that's I think I think she's going to run off to join everybody else because I think she's you know she's concerned about saving her skin. Like if she's going to be here sleeping here for 10 years, 10 years is a long time to watch your back.
Yeah,
You know what I
well,
mean?
calm seasons can last any length of time. So yeah, it's a gamble. It definitely is. So while you're rushing to the town center, you've already got there. There aren't many people here. You can see the suspects up on the stage. They're still tied to their rocks. They're not speaking to each other. They all look rather haggard and worn out. The judge is waiting atop her high chair. She looks down at you. I expected the rest of the town to arrive before now. Why are you the first here?
They're on their way. I ran fast. Do you mind if I do a physical examination of the suspects, please?
I do.
Oh, okay. Because I might be able to help solve the case. If I could.
How do you propose to do this, Chaosist?
Well, it's very simple. After discussing the matter with some of the sort of insectile residents of your fine settlement and doing a bit of investigation, I've come to several conclusions. But I would like to investigate these people's bodies before I speak. Well, okay. You said she's up on like a almost like a
It's like an umpire's chair.
right. Is there like a podium in front of that though?
Yeah.
I'd like to shimmy up the podium and
She looks at you with some disgust as you're trying to climb up to her level. Stop where you are. Are you a judge? You appointed?
no, but I want to tell you something because in case the bad guys hear, I would rather whisper it to you.
You can see the townsfolk are starting to file in now, and of course, Chiara is now here. Clag is going to take some time rolling his rock. So she looks around. She says, "Fine," in a low voice. What?
Whoever killed the victim fought with the victim, probably suffered some defensive injuries as a result, and it certainly was not a cannibal. They used a sharp implement. Also, I pull out of my pocket, I have a fingernail and some blood. So I was going to check and see if any of the accused are missing, say, a fingernail, perhaps, or have any wounds that would be consistent with somebody trying to fight them off. But I didn't want to say that in front of everybody because if they're being set up by somebody else, that somebody else is almost certainly here in the crowd.
Very wise. Always assumed. Well, most of the chaosists I've known haven't been able to follow a pattern of logic before. Fine, climb down, do what you need to do, but do it quietly.
And I will slide down it like a fireman's pole, basically, and then climb over the accused. Not to date myself with a reference, but much like the animated Lars Ulrich in the Napster Bad cartoons, just like a spider monkey climbing all over their bodies, just kind of looking them over and like probably bending their hands in very unnatural ways to look at the nails and things like that. And if they say anything, I just sort of rub my hand over their face and go, shh, shh, shh.
All right, so you examine their bodies, and to no one's surprise, least of all yours, you find no missing fingernails, at least nothing recent enough to bear this out. You know, there's Denius, the Darv Hunter, who's on here, bears all kinds of injuries, but they're old injuries. But yeah, none of them bear the hallmarks of recently having been in a scrap, beyond the beating they've probably received from the mob and the guards. So, you know, they've got some bruises, but that all looks like they were dealt by heavy hands, not an 11-year-old fighting for a life.
Sure. And just to make sure that I've dotted my I's and crossed my T's, none of their fingernails look unnaturally fresh or clean.
That's a very, very good question. You can have another momentum to the pool if anyone's keeping track of the value at this point, because that is something I, as a story guide, hadn't considered you might do, and it is a very good question. No.
Excellent. So I have zero reason to believe at this point, based on the evidence, that these people are guilty.
Yeah, Clag, you roll your rock into town. Obviously, everyone is looking at you now. What is that Darv doing with a chaos rock in our settlement center? You there?
Yeah.
Yes, you. What is the meaning of this?
I'm taking it home with me.
Taking it home. We're in the middle of a calm. If you are taking it to your habitat, take it to the habitat. I do not want it in the center of the settlement. These things cause accidents, explosive accidents. This is a place of justice.
Explosive justice for sure.
Listen, I don't know how you do it. Where are you from?
Ariel.
Well, I don't know how you do it in the upturned ship, but I assume they don't allow people to just roll chaos rocks into places of law there either.
I mean, I need to make sure that nobody runs off with it.
Where are they going to run off to? We're in the middle of a calm season.
Same way that they run off with the corpse.
Run off with the corpse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, point of order. We found out where the murder occurred, and it was not where the body was dragged out. There's also that. I forgot to mention that as well.
This creates something of a murmur, a hubbub throughout the crowd. Ooh, rhubarb.
Yes, and furthermore,
Hullabaloo.
I'm gonna hop up probably with 1 foot on each of the I'm assuming they're individual stocks, right? So I'm gonna hop up and stand with 1 foot on each of 2 stocks and say, and furthermore,
Perry Mason.
yes, none of these people have injuries consistent with what we witnessed would have been the case were they the killers. I have this piece of fingernail that we found at the crime scene, and none of them is missing a fingernail. You have the wrong people.
Walks in with Mirren at this point. Well, this is just fantastic, but why should any of us believe the word of what? 2, 3, 4 newcomers to the settlement? When we have it on good authority that it was these 3 responsible, and you're throwing fingernails in our faces?
We found the fingernail with blood by the gate. We killed the cannibals, we found the fingernail, and we found the place where the mayor's daughter was killed.
By the abyss, anyone could have broken off a fingernail in the gate.
That is true.
Mirren's gonna be looking just very subtly, because she's still with him, right? She's just looking subtly down at this guy's hands.
But could they have done it? Oh, and also left behind blood, and also during the time of this murder, and also consistent with the injuries that were
Why
suffered.
don't you shut up and keep your opinions to yourself? Now, Goldacre, this is an open gallery. People are allowed to say whatever they choose. Well, I'm just about sick and tired of listening to these outsiders voice their opinions in our court. Our settlement runs perfectly fine the way it's been running these last seasons, and now these come along introducing all manner of chaos. Hell, that one just rolled a chaos rock into the middle of the...
Yeah, you mean like a corrupt bunch of wannabes?
Sheriff, if this is our settlement, why didn't you find the murder spot? Why didn't you find the bloody fingerprints? As far as I'm concerned, we newcomers did your job for you. What do you have to hide?
So what's our salary?
Mirren's definitely looking at his I'm legitimately looking at his hands.
Well, he's going for the blade at his hip. You don't think he's going to stab anyone, but he's clearly twitchy, and so that means you can see his hands. Goldacre is of a people that actually have hands with the regular number of digits, and well, wouldn't you know it? There is a bloody wound on his forefinger, where there should be a fingernail. There is not.
So I'm gonna step away.
With all
I'm stepping
of you.
away.
He draws his sword.
I point my crossbow at the sheriff. The sheriff was missing a fingernail.
You didn't see that.
No. Right now, that is only known to Mirren.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if I can get some leadership to calm this stuff down. This needs to calm down.
Yeah, go for it. Leadership and presence, please.
Yeah. So.
But the sheriff has drawn his sword. Sheriff, put your blade away now. No, I have had enough of listening to this, and I will not listen to it any longer. If these people cannot be brought to order, we know who committed this foul crime.
Keep it up. And
Judge, we know who committed this crime.
Judge, Your Honor, if can the sheriff present his hands? Can we see his hands, his fingers?
I have two hits, if that matters.
So what are you going to try and say, MK, to try and calm the situation with your leadership and presence?
Yeah, if this is a court. We're guests here. We are guests here. And we're gonna find out the truth. So we might as well just bring it down a notch. Everybody show their hands. We're just looking for some missing fingernails. And then we'll talk about what happened. And if somebody doesn't want to show their hands, we'll know something else, won't we? Yeah. Yeah, I'm just holding up my hands. Yeah. So what? So I had 2 successes. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, two hits isn't massive, but the people in the crowd, the vast majority of them, seem perfectly happy to do this. I mean, the people on the stage would do it if their hands weren't already examined along with the rest of their bodies by a crawling chaosist. The sheriff obviously doesn't stick his hands out. He grips his sword and holds it out.
And I have backed away, and it's like, I see you're not showing your hands, and I
have had enough of this. I've made my thoughts known. The fact that you're allowing yourselves to get so addled by these newcomers, a farsighter coming in here, interfering with your emotions, your judgment. This is what farsighters do. They come, they impose their judgment. If there is a criminal here, it is those meddling with our way of thinking. And fine, if this settlement is not for me anymore, if this settlement is not what I have helped build, then I will find another settlement. Don't be ridiculous, Goldacre. There is a chaos storm raging outside. You will not make it 20 meters before it sweeps you up.
I think you should give it a shot.
I have access to my own wisdoms. I can travel if I need to. But I'm not beholden to these 4. No one in this settlement should be.
Matthew?
Your Honor,
yes. Oh, sorry. So, Victoria, you've been wanting to say something, so please. And then I will go to you, Ed.
Your Honor, the sheriff missed too many clues. The fingerprints, the murder spot, and now he won't show his hands.
You are correct, Goldacre. If you've not done a very good job, have you? Oh, Verd. I beg your pardon. Verd. You are all full of it. And now he's pointing his finger and the bloody finger. Edwin, what did you want to do?
Well, considering that he put out his hand, kind of my point got moot. So I wanted to throw a chaos rock at him. So
I mean, it would definitely disable him.
You still can. Nobody's.
I mean, that it would be explosive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can just ask why. Why did you do it? Just asking, why did you do it?
I didn't do nothing. What? I lost my fingernail. I farm, I hunt, I do all kinds of things that this settlement would balk at the idea of, and I lost a fingernail. That doesn't prove nothing. I did nothing. I did nothing to no one in this settlement. Everything I've done is to preserve this settlement.
You are way too angry to be a sheriff.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Edwin Wessel.
And the mayor's daughter, Sheriff, who were you protecting?
Where is the mayor, by the way?
The mayor stands up as you ask that, Clag. It's this frail-looking individual in the crowd. Did you hurt my daughter, Goldacre?
He did.
He seems chastened at the fact that he has been questioned by someone he actually respects.
I would like to take this opportunity, if I may, to tether a bit of wild chaos.
Oh, good lord.
I mean,
and throwing the chaos rock was a bad idea.
I'm glad it's here.
I would like to have my crossbow ready beneath my jacket to fire in case the sheriff does anything stupid.
I mean, I technically still want to nuke him, but I'm just holding.
Well, let's see then, Travis. What are you planning to do by tethering this wild chaos?
All I want to do is just give one teeny weeny tiny teensy little status effect to the sheriff. I would like to make him guilt-ridden.
That is a really
Perfect.
good use of that status effect. And as you are only attaching that to one person, that means it's only a difficulty 1. So looking at so let's see, in terms of tethering wild chaos, the complications therein are, let's see. Complications on this would come from, in fact, hell, this is the only tethering effect that has occurred in this place. There's no distractions. I'm not applying complications beyond a simple minor. So in this case, what skill and attribute do you think you're going to apply here? I'm guessing a manipulation as an attribute.
If I could do perhaps cunning and esoterica.
Oh. If you're prepared to take a moderate complication, yeah.
All right, yeah, I think I could do that.
Okay, so you need to get difficulty 1, moderate complication.
Is there a way we can assist?
Oh, well, if people want to throw in an attempt to help with tethering, I will give Travis a 2 enhancement, but increase the complication by a degree.
If you want to, you're welcome to. I don't think we need it. I got 3 hits on the die. Now, I only gain a enhancement due to the chaos level itself if I'm using an actual sorcery, correct?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But I still do get 1 because the chaos ball is there.
Yes.
All right, so that's 4 hits total. So 2 to buy off the complication, and then 2 to make him really guilt-ridden, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it'll be essentially guilt-ridden for more than a round, effectively.
Okay.
If you want to, extend the duration to the scene.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, well, in that case, I mean, the status effects, it's a really subtle, considering the way this party has acted up until now, it's a really subtle use of chaotic sorcery. And just as he was about to explode with his own chaotic sorcery, but as it is, he throws his sword to the ground with a clatter. You think for a moment you see the dried blood on it, but no, probably just your imagination, because you know what he did with it. He puts his hands to the sides of his head. He turns his head down. And he looks. He doesn't look to any of you. He looks to the mayor. He says, "You got to understand. I didn't want to do nothing to her. This settlement, we don't have enough resources, enough stock to last out an entire calm season. We do not have it, and so I was I was reapportioning the stock to make sure that the most deserving people got the food, resources, clean water, mineral, everything that they deserved. And that meant that some of the stores were going to deplete, so the people who didn't deserve it got less. I did what I had to do, and he looks up at the judge and gestures in a sort of, fine, I did what I had to do to keep this settlement safe. And yeah, we would have lost people. Some people would have starved, probably. We have our sorceries, but we know they're unpredictable. And she saw me filching from the stores. She saw me messing with the ratios, stealing from the Selman storage. And so I chased her down, and she called me a thief, and I wasn't being a thief. I was looking after the settlement. I was making sure the deserving got their rations. And I chased her into a tunnel, and she just kept crying out, and I was sure someone would hear. And how is this settlement going to cope without a sheriff? Huh? So I drew my blade and I threatened her, and she wouldn't shut up. And things got out of hand from there. But I went too far. But I knew that I'm sorry. I mean, that's all there is to it. Ain't no excuse for what I did, but not to anybody here, not to her, not to Jarlath, the mayor, not to anybody. I accept whatever punishment I get. I deserve it. I understand that.
I'm looking around for anybody, because there's an accomplice. I'm looking around for anybody else who looks suspicious.
Okay. Everyone, if you're all doing this, everyone can make an empathy and composure roll. Because you're looking for someone who is showing signs of breaking.
2 hits.
2 hits. Okay.
Two hits.
2 hits.
That is 3 for me.
3. Anything from you, Edwin?
Nah, I don't have empathy.
You just have your
I'm-
lovely chaos.
I'm shocked and amazed.
Hey,
As rock.
I'm still waiting to use my sorcery. I'm tempted.
Your eyes go to the judge. She looks desperate. She looks anxious. She looks afraid. And then she speaks up and says, You have to take the punishment that you deserve, Goldacre. You cannot remain in this settlement. You will be exiled and suffer the same or worse fate as the girl you killed. While I think we can all appreciate the reasons you did what you did, they were wrong. Your motive was wrong. You hurt this settlement more than I'm sure you intended. And we should all realize here in Minerone that we are a merciful settlement. While we rely heavily on order, we also recognize the value of mercy, and that it says that if someone survives exile during a chaos storm, that they are welcome back here with no judgment cast on their previous actions. To survive a trial like that, to survive the judgment of the world below, and to return is punishment enough, even for the awful death of this poor innocent girl. Is that not right, Mayor Jarlath? That is the way we have always done it, as much as it personally pains me to say so.
Do you think we should do guilt-ridden on the judge?
I
Right.
mean,
It's
we
up
can.
to you.
Uh,
Well, let's. What are the characters thinking? Because at this point, yeah, you know the sheriff did what he said he did, and you are certainly of the belief, 3 of the 4 of you, and more likely than not, Clag believes it as well, just based on the way the rest of you are now all sort of staring at the judge and looking at each other and nodding. You certainly suspect the judge was the sheriff's accomplice.
Mm-hmm.
But, and here's the big but, is this something that the 4 of you need to litigate?
Yeah, that's a good
Um,
question.
Would it destabilize the settlement too much? Bear in mind, this is where you will be trapped for the next however long. It's up to you. You can come out of this on the side of moral rightness and say she's in on it as well and get her punished as well. But you also can see that if you do that, this system of order, whether it is right or not, will probably collapse with her.
I'm thinking. Sorry, go ahead.
No, well, and then you have the alternative, of course, of letting sleeping dogs lie, as it were, or maybe waiting until the calm has passed, until you reveal it. But yeah, you speak, Victoria. What do you think?
I'm thinking let's split the difference. A little bit of blackmail. I mean, the town needs a new sheriff now. That can be one of us. I say that we leverage this to get better roles and in the town. Like maybe Edwin can have the right to roll his chaos rocks around wherever he wants.
You don't need that right. I'll do it anyway.
But now you can do it with without people getting in your way and bothering you and being like, "Hey, don't do that." Yeah, blackmail.
I think I agree
Yeah,
with
I
the
think-
fungus.
Yeah, I think I would lean toward merciful and a little bit of order, although I don't think this is my version of order, but maybe if I have a little bit a better role here, I might be able to help grow some food, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they sound like they're in a bad
Yeah.
way. And M is a lot more concerned about no innocent person being punished than all the guilty
Yeah.
people being punished. If that makes
Exactly.
sense.
Yep.
So we've freed the innocents. However, if at all possible, I would like to give the sheriff a parting gift as he's being escorted out to his exile.
Oh,
Yeah, I was just gonna cook up the nastiest sort of chaos locked wild chaos effect to him to just draw as much problem as possible to him while he's out there.
We don't like child murder. We frown on that on our Make-A-Wish stream.
yes, that's the message. That's what we want to. That's what we want to tell everyone here.
Sure.
Say no
Yeah.
to child murder.
That's right.
Think twice.
Right. If you're thinking about that, don't.
All right then. Oh, good lord. All right. So, with that done, the sheriff is escorted to the gate, the settlement gate, and you have imposed this chaos locked effect. Why do you keep patting me on the back, Chaos? just making sure it sticks. I feel funny. He provides a parting look toward the judge. You're sure they have a personal relationship that probably goes deeper than anyone here can know, but she gives him a nod, he gives her a nod. They've clearly agreed that it wasn't going to be a case of if one goes down, they're going to take the other with them. And so they decode the door. It opens slightly, and you are immediately exposed to the cacophony, the hurricane, the dread blast out there of a chaos storm raging within meters of the gate. And so the sheriff, he stops, he looks, his face for the first time terrified. He, looks like a child. His hands are shaking. He can't step through and voluntarily walk into exile. Not in that tempest out there. Is any of you going to give him a shove, or are you going to show even more mercy than perhaps you should?
I'm certainly not letting him stay in here with the effect I just tagged with.
No.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I wish I think genuinely Mirren would wishes he.
Matthew,
Is there anything I could give this guy?
Yeah, Edwin.
I'll make it very simple. So where he's standing,
Mm-hmm.
a door appears, which is open,
Mm-hmm.
and he falls through it.
So no one knows where he is, but he isn't out there. Okay, and close the gate.
And he has no clue where he is either, so...
No, I mean, he's probably embedded in some basalt. But to be honest, that might be a better fate. And so, yeah, just as the community are all looking at each other as if, is this the right course to take? Are we being too harsh on him? Clearly, the eyes of the mayor are just fixed on him. You will walk or I will push you. And then Clag, without a word, he disappears into the ground, and the ground seals up over him. There is confusion at first. Then there are shrugs.
I give Clegg a high five.
and the people, other than Jarlath Mineron, the people go back to work. They can't stand around in wonder. This is a place of chaos. This is a place where unusual things happen all the time. People disappearing into the basalt isn't bizarrely the strangest thing they've ever seen before. And maybe this was just the way the chaos storm reached him. And so, yeah, he's been taken. As I say, confusion, then shrugs, then, well, these fungi aren't going to farm themselves. And so, yeah, they head on back to their work. The great work is never done. Jarlath Mineron stands there, staring at the gate for quite some time. The blood trail where his daughter was dragged is largely gone at this point. The bugs have had at it for long enough now. Her remains are a memory. Certainly there's nothing bodily left out there given the state of the storm going on. And so he too slowly turns and returns to his home as well.
I would like to approach him before he leaves.
Yeah, yes.
I'll say it's not quite a pound, but I hand him the fingernail.
Thank you for seeing that justice, what was done proper, sir, madam. Sorry, I'm confused.
That's all right. I answered anything. Step late for dinner.
I suppose one less mouth to feed.
Sorry we couldn't do more. Real bummer, and I pat him on the shoulder, and I'm like, well, that's about all yeah, bye.
Well, mission accomplished. And he ambles off. And so I think that gives us our way out. It's time to say goodbye to our party now in the settlement of Minerone. They will be there for some time until the calm season ends. There will be periodic checks to see whether the chaos storm has abated, though you can generally sense these things in the air. And during that time, it is likely they will find for themselves ways to occupy themselves, whether a Clag is mining fresh chaos rocks from the earth, because there is clearly an abundance of them here, and Miran is assisting with the farming, and I imagine Shiara is, if anything is to go by, probably setting up a church and feeding of herself. And M is probably just occasionally out of boredom triggering off chaotic retaliations and seeing what happens.
Quite possibly. I would assume.
Blackmailing the judge.
Yeah, I would assume that at some point, the M would want to perform the Grasp the Tide ritual. And basically, if at all possible, and with the blessing of her associates, she would like to offer the judge the option that once the calm ends, she can sort of quietly leave. And not only will we all help, but I will work this ritual to reduce the chaos here in your settlement to make it a safer place. Alternatively, you cannot leave, and I can make the chaos here worse forever.
Yeah, blackmail.
Well, to that, she clearly thinks it over for a while.
I mean, she's got all
Which may
calm.
say something to her character. But when she eventually sits down with the four of you, he wasn't lying. He wasn't. There is a lack of resources. If the calm lasts any length of time, people will suffer. And there are people in this settlement who we, as elders of the settlement, deemed more deserving than others. And this was not done in secret. Many elders were aware that this was happening, even the mayor. But we also knew that the people of the settlement would not accept it, because no one likes to be told that they are less useful or deserving than their neighbor. And so we set to work doing as Goldacre said. And then the girl saw us and threatened anarchy just by being a witness. And we couldn't risk that, not on the precipice of a chaos storm. We tried to convince her maybe we should have tried other methods. Almost definitely we should have. But the situation escaped us. And that is why Goldacre did what he did.
While she's speaking, I would like to slowly, and not aggressively at all, unstrap my shovel from my pack and just gently, slowly, handle first, extend it to her.
You think I'm digging?
Yes, if you're digging yourself a grave that I don't care about, I thought I would at least give you a hand. This isn't a negotiation or a discussion of your guilt or innocence. This is me telling you how it's going to be.
Fine. I just thought you would, but no, I suppose
Care?
you're not
I
from
don't.
here.
I put my shovel back. Forgive me, everyone else, if you all have another
No,
piece of
no,
feedback here. I'll step back
You're-
and fold my arms.
You are quite correct. I will leave this place, and I will take the blessing that you give me to do so. And I hope that the settlement survives my absence and it does not suffer for want of a good judge.
I don't want you to leave until this calm is over. I'm not a monster.
Yet.
I blink my 47 eyes at them.
Well, with that said, the judge does. Once the calm finally abates, the judge will leave quietly if the deal is upheld.
Yeah, I'll absolutely
Maybe.
work that ritual to reduce the calm or reduce the chaos by one.
And maybe to her, maybe she hopes that she will find Goldacre out there somewhere. But more likely than not, she just wants to get the hell away from this place and the judgment that she will have leveled upon herself if her crimes are revealed. But that is the conclusion of a question of judgment. We are done with our scenario, which ran from 1 part to 2. And I do want to thank all of my players with their big chunky chaos rocks and big and lovely fungal hats and desire to charm a child murdering sheriff. And wanting to speak to the cutest bugs that exist in the world below, even with the Reed Richards extending arms.
That was a little creepy.
Yeah,
Love it.
yeah. You never actually asked or sought out what that thing was, but that's
No,
fine. That's fine.
some secrets
was.
we're not meant to know. That's all.
But thank you so much, all of you, for playing. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that the people who watch this have learned a little about a way that the world below can be played. But most importantly, what this scenario sets out to do is show that the world below can be played as exploring through tunnels and dungeons and killing monsters and everything, but it can just as easily be played within a settlement. You can have interesting characters and plots and intrigue and the rest. There is verisimilitude where that is the point. No, that is what we want, and hopefully this has displayed that. So I will go down the line if there is anything anyone wishes to promote. Let's start with you, Edwin. Thank you so much for playing once again and for calling out a despicable sheriff. I mean, you'd know a thing or two about that.
Cannot confirm nor deny that. But yeah. No, once more promoting Onyx Path and everything you publish, Matthew. So.
Well, thank you very much, Edwin. And how about you, MK?
Back the World Below, which I helped to edit.
Thank you very much. And Victoria?
Oh, promote something. I guess I promote my Blue Sky account. The name's right below, and the account is less than 24 hours old. MK gave me my Blue Sky invite yesterday. So there is that. And I also promote Onyx Path and World Below. Go back the Kickstarter. I mean, go back to the backer kit. It's great.
Oh, to be in with the in crowd on Blue Sky, I can only dream. And
It's better than X. It's better than X.
There's like 10 people that are lined up to give you invites, and you know it.
And rudely and crudely, I spurn everyone like I would a rabid dog.
Makes you the smartest one of the bunch. I want to thank you very much for running this beautiful game. I want to thank my fellow players for not only for joining in this beautiful story, but also for putting up with M's chaotic nonsense. And I would like to promote, there's a group of community content PDFs, or bundles, I should say, that were put together as part of like a Halloween celebration that feature the various Onyx Path game line community content programs. I've thrown a whole stack of links in the chat. There's a bundle for Trinity Continuum, one for Scarred Lands, one for Scion, one for Pugmire, and one for They Came From. These are all collections of community content products that were put together by members of the fan community. Some also are people who, routinely freelance for Onyx Path, but just wanted to make their own stuff, things that didn't maybe fit into some official books. So there's a wide variety of content, and it's all 50% off. So if you're looking for something cool to check out from our community creators, those links are the way to go. Thank you so much for the space and the time and for the awesome game, Matthew. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. And thank you very much, everyone who watches this live and most importantly, after the fact on YouTube. Do donate to Make-A-Wish. I know the campaign is ending, well, today, but that doesn't mean you can't still donate to Make-A-Wish. It is a hugely important charity, and we appreciate it if you do. So thank you very much for watching. Sign us off, Travis.
See you later. Be good to yourselves and each other. Get your shots. Wash your hands.
Bye.